Rock Park, for today's race also marks the 40th anniversary of this tradition-laden facility. 3 decades ago, it was Peter Revson winning the inaugural visit of North America's most prestigious stock-body road racing series. Revson's victory that day proved to be one of only 2 career Trans Am checkers. Today's defending champion, Dorsey Schrader, comes here with 2 consecutive Lime Rock wins, as well as 3 of the last 5. The driver of the number 12 Mustang has not posted enviable numbers so far in '97, so round number 3 of this year's championship takes on a special significance.
Lime Rock's one of my best tracks. You know, if we can't do good here, we're going to be in big trouble for the rest of the year. I've won this race every year I've run it. You know, we can be beat here, everybody can be here, but this is a good racetrack for us. Race car's fine. We got to put it on the money this week.
The man with the best '97 numbers so far comes to Lime Rock as a man without local pedigree. In spite of 3 championships and 17 career wins, the only man to win so far in '97 has never fared well here. Tommy Kendall surely has plans to change that statistic.
You know, Lime Rock has been one of my favorite tracks, and the fact that I haven't done well in Trans Am kind of rubs me the wrong way. My crew guys and I, we came here in the GTP car and broke the track record by over 2 seconds, and so we feel really comfortable here, and it really kind of ticks us off that we haven't done more in Trans Am.
But perhaps the man with the most impressive numbers is veteran Trans Am competitor, 1978 Series champion Greg Pickett. He comes to Northwestern Connecticut 1 race shy of finishing an astounding 100 races in the top 10, something no one else has ever done.
Yeah, well, you know, obviously 100 top 10s would be a great accomplishment. Frankly, a benchmark in Trans Am racing, which I'd be very proud about. But you know what we really want to do is we don't want to just ease in the back door, you know, maybe like an 8th or 9th or 10th place finish for that top 10. We want to really go in the front door with another podium finish, which I also lead in, and do that 100 top 10s in style. That's what we're working on at Lime Rock Park here today.
Well, some absolutely beautiful weather has drawn a huge crowd here at Lime Rock Park. I liked how Mr. Lewis referred to it as driving through a national park to get here. That's what these people did, and lots of them, David Hobbs. I think they're in for some great racing.
They are in for some good racing, of course, with that big hill there all around this track. You've got some great viewing spots, too. So good afternoon's racing coming up and a beautiful day for it.
Well, as we take a look at our starting lineup, although he qualified in the 5th fastest spot, Greg Pickett randomly drew the number 1 starting spot. And starting next to him is Brian Simo, who actually qualified 3rd quickest. And we go to row 2 of our Synchron synthetic starting grid, David.
That's Tommy Kendall, who was the fastest qualifier, drew the 3rd ball. And Dorsey Schrader, our 2-time winner here before, is in 4th spot.
And as we move to row 3, Paul Gentilozzi, a little frustrated. He qualified very well, ends up drawing that 5th starting position. Next to him, though, Mike Borkowski having a great early season in his rookie appearance in Trans Am.
And 300 of those people out there have all come to see Mike Borkowski. Alongside, behind him, of course, is Bill Saunders doing his 52nd start in Trans Am. And Michael Lewis there qualifying very well on his Trans Am debut here at Lime Rock.
And, of course, up next, inside row number 5, last year's Rookie of the Year, John Miller IV in the Chevrolet Camaro. Good effort for him. And multiple NASPort champion, Don Maluzio, start next to him, also in a Chevy Camaro.
On row 6, we have John Gooding, who had a great 2nd place at St. Pete in the 1st race of the year, alongside R.J. Valentine out of Hingham, Massachusetts, who also qualified extremely well here.
Moving to row 7, Peter Shea, who's a very experienced club racer, has done a number of Trans Am events in the past, having a good effort. And next to him, a gentleman who you visited with, David, Paul Alderman, in his rookie debut here at Lime Rock.
Yeah, making a good start. On row 8, we have Max Lagarde in a Chevrolet Camaro from Barrington, Illinois, and Dominic Toto from New Jersey.
Row number 9, we take a look. It's Donald Sack, longtime Trans Am competitor. Next to him, Bob Ruman, also in a Chevy Camaro.
Row 10 is Todd Sprinkle from Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, and alongside him is Jim Briode, also in a Camaro.
In row number 11, it is Jack Bush in a Chevrolet Camaro. And next to him, Frank Cipatini Jr. out of Morristown, New Jersey. Chevrolet Camaro as well, lots of them.
Row 12, Vinny Muschiero in a Chevrolet Camaro. Alongside him, Ted Sullivan, also in a Chevrolet Camaro.
And moving to row 13, and this is interesting, Leighton Reese now has moved to the back with a tire problem, so he actually qualified a little bit better up in the 15th spot, but is going to be starting dead last. His work is cut out for him today.
Boy, I'll tell you what, on this circuit, it's really cut out because it's a very fast racetrack, this.
Joining our Trans Am coverage today is the 1969 winner here at Lime Rock and Trans Am competition, Sam Posey. Sam has an interesting new wrinkle to add to the broadcast today, Sam.
Well, Bob, it's a telemetry system that's going to allow us to download information from the cars as they run. Sensors aboard the cars will allow us to read G-forces, braking forces, cockpit temperature, and most importantly, perhaps, tire temperatures. And if a story develops along the way, we'll have it for you. We're going to be measuring these things aboard the car of Tommy Kendall, the fastest qualifier.
It should be a lot of fun to watch. Let's go to Calvin Fish, who is keeping an eye on some late braking developments. Calvin?
One driver who's having a very busy weekend is Mike Lewis, and he's starting on the 8th grid position, and he's been racing backwards and forwards between the east and west coast. He's here today. He's second in rookie points, 3 points behind Mike Borkowski, and 10th in the point standing, and he's looking for a strong finish here today at Lime Rock.
Field making its way down out of that diving turn. Pace car is in.
Green flag out, and Tommy Kendall already going down the inside there. Needs to be pretty careful going to Big Bend for the first time. Long, hard corner. Of course, one of the things that we haven't spoken about yet, this is a real tire circuit. It's predominantly right-hand corners. This is the only left-hand turn in the whole 1.5 mile circuit. The rest of it is almost like a huge oval. And there we see somebody out already. Nasty crash there on the main straightaway.
Obviously can't pick up a number. Going to take a look at the replay, David, and back in the pack, somebody running off up there. Oh, contact between Leighton Reese, and that was number 48, Vinny Musacaro, and he got in there pretty hard.
He got in there extremely hard, so that's probably going to bring out the caution flag, is it, or isn't it? Whoa, there we see it.
Yeah, it looked like Leighton had a move going up the inside, and Musacaro, and he just came together. Both, you can see Leighton, a big slide as well. He saved it, and Musacaro got into the barrier pretty hard. And I think he's sitting there just waiting for the word from the crew and the corner workers to get out. We are indeed full course yellow, so field will be reined in under the control of the pace car once again.
Tommy Kendall already in the lead. Now, we didn't see him take over the lead there. Let's hope he didn't take it over under the yellow on the main straightaway there. Unlikely, but a possibility. So Tommy Kendall coming up in that third spot on the grid, even though he was the fastest qualifier, has taken the lead here already under full course caution just after one lap. Nasty incident going into turn one for the first time. Not an uncommon thing in any sort of race.
Well, not at all. And again, these cars so very close in terms of speed. Kendall's time notwithstanding, they are very competitive. And all of them this week, and you were talking about tires, they're running on the same compound. Everybody running the softer of the two, the 600, which in and of itself is a relatively hard compound. So tires should be less of a concern than usual. All right, and as the field comes down through that diving turn, they're going to set it up here. We'll watch for the pace car, see if it makes a move down into the pit lane. And there it goes. It is in the pit lane, watching for the green. Kendall rolling under the throttle, and we are green, in fact, and Pickett tucking right in behind. And let's bring in Sam Posey with some information on the telemetry we're getting. Sam?
Greg, you'll see that the tire temperatures are very, very sensitive. Look for the gain on the outside tires as he goes through this right-hander here. You'll see the right-hand tires heat up. Then as he now moves into the left-hander, now he moves into the series of predominantly right turns, and you'll see the left-hand tires begin to heat up. But it's interesting, during that yellow period, the tires cooled way, way down. We're seeing them come back up now to standard operating temperature.
And Leighton Reese rejoins after his quick black flag. It's a stop and go, essentially, and he's back on course.
Ooh, nasty fluid leak from the left rear there on his car. Looked more than the breather to me.
It sure did, and it was serious as well. Meanwhile, there's Kendall going out, and boy, look at that. Simo really starting to take a run at Pickett as Kendall's clearing the field just a little bit. Pickett runs second, the red Camaro right there, and that white and blue Mustang right behind him is Brian Simo, relatively new starter in Trans Am. And Chase Hart now, that is Gentilozzi, the battle for fourth. Right behind him is Dorsey Schrader, the master of the rock in Trans Am, so to speak. And Mike Borkowski not letting either of those two get away.
Mike Borkowski, as we said before, 300 people there. You see a look at Paul Gentilozzi there in that number 5 car. He wants to do better than number 5 this weekend as he comes to no name straight. So at the moment he's still lying in 4th spot, so he's picked up 1, but he's being pressed hard by Dorsey Schrader in the 12 car.
And Dorsey, even though everybody's running the same tire, seems to be able to have a magic touch to get a harder compound tire to come in a little bit quicker. Maybe that's why we're seeing this level of pressure.
He's certainly pushing hard at the moment, and Mike Borkowski, as you said, not giving up at all in the second of the Tom Gloy cars.
Mike's an incredibly talented driver, but this is the first time he's driven the relatively heavy sedans, and I would suspect it's going to take him a little time to get used to it. And he watched Dorsey make a move. He's also being fairly savvy, just letting these two guys work each other over a little bit.
Well, of course, he's done well in the smaller, lighter, Formula type cars. He's got some great car control skills, and of course he's going to need those in these Trans Ams. They're very much a car control. These are fairly, you know, as basic as you can get in a racing car, which is one of the beauties of them, and it makes them an interesting car to drive. But unfortunately, Tommy Kendall has mastered it better than anybody else. He drives off from Greg Pickett. Greg's still under intense pressure now from Brian Simo.
Those two having a great battle, and it's settling in a little bit. Kendall going away, then a little battle for second, then a gap, then a great battle for fourth. One car, then two, then three. Boy, that numbers game playing its full force here, it seems.
Well, like all road racing, of course, it's very difficult to overtake. You know, people are used to watching NASCAR cars on the oval where they pass and repass on the high banks. You just can't do that in road racing. So although it looks like a bit of a procession, there's a lot of great driving going on here, a lot of precision. Only that wasn't quite so precise as it might have been there by number 70. That's Peter Shea.
Looked like he just got it a little loose.
I think that was at West Bend, which is a very difficult corner. It's the downhill. No, it was at West Bend, yeah, before he got to the bridge. Wow.
He got away with something there, I think.
He got away with something big time, because you're going through West Bend in these cars around about the 120 mark. It's a sharp right-hander. It has no camber to help the car at all. And it's a very, very quick corner. And you want to make it right, too, because it leads ultimately onto the straight. So he's decided to do another full lap. In fact, I guess he's decided not to come in at all.
It looks like he's staying out, and we go back to the front watching Tommy Kendall. And the margin, it's not that big, but that gap behind him is tightened up. We now have essentially a 5-car battle for second, which would lead us to believe perhaps that Greg Pickett is holding people up just a little bit.
I would think that at this stage, Greg is certainly holding up Brian Simo, which has allowed them both to fall back now, and they're both under intense attack from Paul Gentilozzi in the number 5 car, and right behind him is Dorsey Schrader, winner here, as we've already said a couple of times in a row before. And not so far behind is Mike Borkowski in the number 44 car.
Is part of this perhaps, since they're running those hard compound tires, it just takes a little bit longer to build temperature in the tires?
Well, they'd be up to temperature now.
And we go on board with number 5. Now this is Paul Gentilozzi in the Camaro, who's back there a little bit. He's going to be dealing with some of that traffic fairly shortly, and he's right in the scrap right now. So running in 4th spot. Right behind Brian Simo there, who in turn is right behind Greg Pickett. So this is a pretty serious trade. Now it's only going to take the slightest mistake from one of those 2 cars in front of him, and Paul Gentilozzi will pounce. But of course the same thing applies to him too, because right behind him is Dorsey Schrader. These guys, you know, you can cover them by a blanket. It looks like a bit of a gap, but in reality, in time, it's nothing. Here's more traffic. Now, of course, it's very difficult for that 42 car to know what to do with himself. He got between, Brian Simo and Greg. He won't like that. Brian Simo trying to get by. They both squeezed by there. On the other hand, hard for that guy, that's Jim Briode, to know exactly what to do with that car on that bit of road that moves around. Well, and of course, you know, you look in your mirror, you see 1 car, maybe 2, and you don't realize there's 3 and 4 that are behind their part of that battle as well. And really, he did a fairly decent job, Jim Briode did, of getting out of the way. He did, really, yeah. Again, action, it looks like, although he did gap things just a little bit, we can see that now Simo has drifted a little bit back behind Pickett. Pickett working more traffic, diving down inside, and makes that move, as did Kendall. So Pickett was hoping maybe he could blow us back up, and not happen. And Dorsey Schrader there making a bit of a go around Paul Gentilozzi. Dorsey Schrader right up with Paul. Whoa, we got a spin. He's going to, gosh, he just nearly spun into those 2 cars. Mike Borkowski had to bring the brakes on big time there. That's going to cost him serious time, but he nearly backed into those 2 cars, battling for 4th and 5th. Well, he affected apparently Brian Simo, because number 22 is off on the grass. He's rejoining. That was, by the way, 47 was Frank Cipottini, who just got it a little bit wrong. And as you said, nobody hit him. Well, apparently, I mean, when you're right on the edge and you suddenly have to jump off the gas and hammer the brake to avoid somebody, the car will get away from you sometime. Yeah, it sure will. So that puts Greg Pickett into a solid 2nd spot now, not immediately under pressure. Here comes Dorsey Schrader right behind Gentilozzi down the main straightaway. Is he going to have a go down to turn 1? This is his opportunity. This is the place. And of course, Dorsey Schrader was an instructor here for years with the skid barb. He's got inside him now as they go through the big bend. He squeezes through. So Paul Gentilozzi won't be happy with that, but there really wasn't much he could do about it. That was a great pass there by Dorsey Schrader. Now, in that same section of track, 1 lap back is what sort of started that big gap. Take a look here. There's Cipottini, gets around, and Simo, yep, you can see him. He's already starting to lose it. Oh, he just touched him, didn't he? Just touched him, man. Look at that. Schrader actually dropped the right rear tire into the gravel. got crossed up, saved it, and held on to it. Now we're going to go back to watch this full speed from Gentilosi's perspective.
Poor old Paul's out.
All he saw was spoiler, and then, of course, obviously the glare going to be a factor out there, fairly bright as well, doing a nice job. Kendall now coming up on Peter Shea, and again, traffic could play a role. Let's see if Peter is able to.
Yeah, it's a bad place to catch him up, you see, because he's going to slow him down a lot, all the way through the big bend. It's also going to slow him down possibly into turn 2, unless Shea, like he did, gives way, so that's fine. But now Shea is between him and Greg Pickett, which of course is great for Tommy Kendall, not so good for Greg Pickett. Greg Pickett's going to catch up Shea as they go through that very important turn 3, leading on to No Name Straight, which is where you can pick up some good time. Not a good overtaking spot. Oh, he didn't get around him, so he's behind him now through the climbing turn. That's going to cost Greg Pickett more time. Meanwhile, of course, our leader, Tommy Kendall, has caught up with 2 other cars, which he's about to put a lap on.
And he's going to catch them right into the entrance to the diving turn, and that's a place where you need a big launch.
Whoa.
Somebody off and into the tires. That's 70, Peter Shea. Remember, he had Pickett right behind him coming up through the climbing turn, and he is off, and he spun there once before, got away with it. Not this time.
Not this time, and this is going to bring out the full course caution for sure, because that car's in a very dangerous position.
So we'll watch for that. There is Shea once again. We can see him. He's talking to the corner worker. Looks like he's signaling that he's safe. Let's go back and see if we can see what happened here. And again, it's interesting to watch this. Take a look.
Oh, my. Oh, those tires in the air there from the tire barrier. Boy, those tire barriers really are worth their weight in gold. So very unfortunate for Peter Shea there. He was trying to help people get through there in the traffic as the leaders came up to lap him. He was trying to give him room, and I guess he got too wide, got out onto the dirt and dust on the edge of the track. Next thing, he's on the real dirt at the edge of the track, or off the track, and once you're in there's no hope, and there's not a lot of runoff area at that point.
And you can see the double yellows displayed, so that means, I believe, we are going to be under full course yellow. Thunder, and we are back to green flag racing. Diving down in, Borkowski staying well low. Kendall, middle of the track to thwart any type of move. There's Pickett, Schrader, nice job. Borkowski looks inside. Gentilosi can't get it done, so he's going to settle in right there. Gentilosi holds on, looking backward now from Tommy Kendall's number 11 Ford Mustang. And Pickett, boy, he seems to get through that left-hander pretty well. Let's check in with Sam on the telemetry.
Well, you notice how Tommy Kendall's cockpit has been extremely hot even during those cool laps there under the yellow. 140 degrees. The lateral G's were going through the uphill bend here now, but when he gets to the downhill turn, you will see it absolutely spike up 2 G's. That's 1 turn ahead. Watch that G meter, because you will see the highest recorded G's right there at the bottom of the downhill, where of course the aerodynamics gives the car the maximum downforce.
And obviously he's making the most of it as he draws away. And I thought I saw, yeah, look at that. Schrader taking a look anyway. He's inside. Oh, Pickett takes him up on that curve, David.
Greg Pickett. Oh, he's touched Greg Pickett. Whoa, Greg Pickett's going to go around. Greg Pickett spins around. He'll be mad. He'll be like a hornet in there. Yellow flag out. Probably won't be a full course caution because Greg Pickett, no, he hasn't scored it, so he's going to get back on the track. Now Greg Pickett's got it. Ooh, steady Greg. You're going to dig all that gravel up into the front there. You don't need that. So Greg Pickett will be pretty hot about that. He didn't give any room, and Dorsey Schrader just kept his nose right in there. Doesn't seem to be in down. Here he goes, down into turn 1. Big bend right up on the curb there, Dorsey Schrader. Greg Pickett loses a bit of time here, and Dorsey just comes right back and nails his way in there, forces his way through.
It almost looked like maybe Dorsey, after being shoved up on that curve, was just a little responsive tactic to say, you don't want to do that.
Whoa, there you see it from the other camera. So Greg Pickett there, not giving him any room at all, but on the other hand, kind of one of those racing incidents, I suppose.
On board with Gentilosi, who was right behind, watched the whole thing, and there you see the initial tap. There goes Pickett off to your left, and fortunately he went off quick enough. He didn't do anything to interfere with Gentilosi.
Paul Gentilosi, of course, worried at that point they were going to spin round and lurch back onto the track, which can happen so easily. So Greg Pickett now really got his work cut out. That's his teammate, Bill Saunders.
Looks like he regained the track relatively quickly. We'll see where he slots in.
A lot of the field went by. Mike Borkowski there.
Well, he's having a good run. That should put him up into 4th. Gentilosi now 3rd. Somebody else off. That is number 68. And that is Paul Alderman, who you visited with a little bit earlier.
Oh,
very talented young driver. Has the GT2 track record here at this track in club racing, for SCCA club racing. Pace car coming out. Boy, just missed Kendall. So They're going to try and get Kendall on the radio, I'm sure, and say, slow down, let that pace car by.
I wonder why they're putting the pace car. I didn't see any cars parked around there anyway.
I wonder if we have a lot of debris on the track because of those two off-course excursions and they want to go out and clean it up.
Could be. Greg Pickett pulled quite a bit of debris into the front end of his car there when he went through that gravel on the outside of turn 1, between turns 1 and 2. Can you see it in it?
Apparently they're going to move Pickett up to in the order in front of car number 12 at this stage, in front of Schrader, and that's one of the SCCA rules that if you are put off, you could be reinstated in your position. They can penalize the driver that put you off and move you back behind that car, and so the penalty really affects 2 people instead of 1 and tries to put a stop to it. We're going back to green, and Kendall getting on it, Schrader staying very close indeed, and there you see now number 6 Pickett has been reinstated back into that top 5. Then
it hasn't been reinstated in front of Dorsey Schrader. Look at side by side there, Johnny Miller in the red, white and blue car there, last year's Rookie of the Year, going around the inside of the 31 car.
All right, so Pickett runs 3rd, so the information we received, not quite accurate. He's 3rd instead of 2nd there. Nonetheless, he is in front of Gentilozzi and had to move up through the pack to get there, so we get back to Gentilozzi.
Oh, Gentilozzi's day is not going right here at all, is it? I can't believe the luck of the guy. Keeps getting his 5th ball, keeps starting 5th, struggles his way up, and then they're going to put Greg Pickett back in front of him.
It's tired. That's just not good.
What am I doing wrong here?
There's that battle. There is Pickett, and again, he's being chased hard by Gentilozzi, and behind him, Borkowski. Let's go down to the pit lane and Bob Gerald.
Well, Gary Young, once again, with Greg Pickett's team. The question is, how come you guys didn't move in front of Dorsey Schrader?
I can't hear you.
How come you guys didn't move in front of Dorsey Schrader on that restart?
We were trying to get SCCA to let us, and we're having trouble with our radio communicating with Greg, but that's where we're supposed to be, is behind Dorsey.
All right, so they have a bone to pick right now, but I don't know if there's anything you can do about it now that you've gone back to the green flag, guys.
Well, I would agree, but you know what? A guy named Dorsey Schrader's got a radio and a crew, too, and you would have thought that they could have possibly asked Dorsey to back off. I wonder if Dorsey just pretended he didn't hear and suddenly had radio problems, too. Exactly. Can't hear you. We're going green, got to stay put. Meanwhile, those two, I mean, boy, once Schrader got clear of everybody, it looks like he is, at least at this stage, able to give Kendall a run. Now, we've got to remember Gloy's comments a little earlier where he said he thinks Tommy's just messing around with everybody, but I guess Dorsey's going to try and keep him honest.
Yeah, but we know Dorsey Schrader is very fast around Lime Rock. Tommy Kendall hasn't had a lot of luck here in his Trans Am cars. He's very, very quick here. Both these guys are extremely quick.
Boy, and at this point, we're on board with Paul Gentilozzi, and you can see he had a very decisive move to the left to get by some lap traffic. I think he is driving with a bit of anger right now, and obviously if he can focus it, he can work hard. Now, take a look. You see where it says Riso, that little white sticker. You see that linkage that's moving there. That's the throttle linkage right there, and you can tell when he's full throttle, and you can see him backing off a little bit, post there. He's going to pick it up, and that's West Bend. A bit of a wobble there. Got up on the curving on the inside.
Well, a little bit of a lift there, but not much. There you see him shifting gear down, full out, obviously down the way, the main straightaway here. And right behind him, Mike Borkowski trying to go down the inside now.
Well, I wonder if that little wobble in West Bend didn't just affect his momentum down through the diving turn. And, of course, if you can get through that diving turn strongly, it can make a big move. And obviously Borkowski sitting there in 5th, looking for 4th. And look who's right behind him. Simo has made up all that ground. The yellow's helping him big time, and he is driving very, very well. And if his car's working as well as Schrader's, it looks to be coming on later in the race.
Well, of course, so these are 4th, 5th, and 6th that you can see there, all in the same frame. Brian Simo catching up with Borkowski. Borkowski, of course, wanted to do a good race today because he's got, as he said, 300 close friends and relatives and associates here. His fan club is here up on the hill, and what a wonderful day they're having here. Beautiful sunshine. And, of course, the last thing Mike Borkowski wants to do is let his teammate do. On the other hand, he certainly doesn't want to push his teammate off.
Look at this.
Number 31, that's Don Maluzio, and he has had a serious off. That's in, looks like West Bend.
That's the diving turn.
Oh, it is the diving turn,
I mean,
right at the bottom.
Fastest turn here. You exit this corner at about 125 miles an hour, and of course that's where you get in the highest G-force, and there you see what happened, go onto the grass, and boom, into that tire barrier, bounces right out. Ooh, that doesn't look like a very nice crash to me at all. So Don Maluzio there slamming into the tire barrier at the bottom of the climb in the diving turn, so that'll bring out a full course caution, I would think.
We're back to green as they come by right now. Start finish should be about 6 laps remaining. And I'll tell you what, some great action up front. Schrader is chasing hard after Kendall. And here's a great battle right now for third. Look at that as Simo has moved back into fourth. And he is all over Gentilozzi. It's a great race.
Brian Simo is obviously quicker than Paul Gentilozzi at this stage, but getting around him with the remaining 6 laps is not going to be easy at all. Right behind Brian Simo is Mike Borkowski, running in only his 3rd Trans Am event ever, but in front of a huge crowd of fans. And behind him is Mike Lewis, running in his 7th Trans Am race ever. Mike Lewis, of course, decided to do the championship, and rightly so too. Putting on a good show this afternoon, but the guy under the most pressure is definitely Paul Gentilozzi. It looks like Tommy Kendall is getting away from Dorsey Schrader, but these 3 guys dicing furiously for 3rd, 4th, and 5th spot.
And what a race it is. They're actually leaving Lewis a little bit. Keep in mind, Lewis and Borkowski are in a battle for Rookie of the Year points as well. So that's on the line here. Right now, Borkowski having the better of that. A little bit of brake lockup, it looked like.
Some smoke coming out the tires there. Not an unusual sight going into Big Bend at all. Borkowski now torn between the devil and the deep blue sea, whether to try and make a pass on teammate Brian Simo. Of course, Brian Simo at the moment being held up slightly by Paul Gentilozzi. There you see Mike Borkowski, a young guy, done a lot of racing in not at the club level, but in those smaller cars. First time he's ever driven a big car. It's only his 3rd race.
Well, and of course, Simo currently 2nd in the points, Borkowski 9th. So if there are team orders, you would think it would favor Simo. I'm not so sure there are this early in the season. And Borkowski, he wants to just.
Well, the main team order would be just don't take each other out.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think there'd be team orders per se, except that obviously the last thing they want is them to go running into each other.
Completing our 62nd of 66 laps, 4 to go. And again, that battle continues for the 3rd position. Kendall and Schrader out front. Kendall's opened up a margin of about 1.5 seconds, and then another 3 seconds back is this scrap. Best one on the track, and it is a good one, there's no question. And impressive, Borkowski staying with him. 68 Alderman gets it sideways, really a half spin, saved it, and he's going to have to wait for traffic to cycle through before he can rejoin. And that was a nice piece of action recovery driving and not getting in his way and stay green.
Paul Alderman not having a great debut here in Trans Am. His dad George drove here in his debut event like 30 years ago. Paul having a couple of spins, so he's dropping back to the field. But just look at this race for 3rd spot.
It is intense, and again, Gentilozzi looks like he may have just taken a little bit longer to get everything in the car up to temperature. Simo hanging the back end out, beautiful slide down the hill, and the 2 of them now are starting to ease away a little bit from Borkowski. Simo moves to the inside, but far too back to make a move, but he did get Gentilozzi to lock that tire up.
Yeah, Gentilozzi got him locked up there. And of course, all that sliding looks great, but that's what puts heat in the tires. And the more heat you get in there, the less grip you get, and the whole thing starts to spiral downhill. Somebody obviously put a wheel up there, big cloud of dust as they come through turn 2.
And locking up those fronts can't exactly help either.
Well, no, of course, if it was early in the race, it'd be pretty unpleasant because it leads to tremendously unbalanced feel as you flat spot the tire. But of course, at this stage, he wouldn't be caring too much about that. But of course, it too puts heat in the tire.
And there's a look at Pickett, who is under attack from John Miller. There's Pickett. He's slipped to 9th spot, and behind him is John Miller. That was actually Saunders, Pickett's teammate. So Pickett in a bit of trouble again. He needs to stay here or 1 spot further back at worst to get that 100th. But at one stage,
it was looking so good for him to get his 50th podium finish. But that's not going to happen today. He's not going to be in the top 3.
And right back into that battle for 3rd. Gentilozzi continues to be under attack. Borkowski closing up. Looks like Lewis might be thinking about joining that group as well. Simo runs a little bit different line through there than Borkowski, trying to get a better launch onto No Name Straight.
Which is important for time. Difficult to get by somebody, but at least you can catch up to Gentilozzi down No Name Straight, get a good shot up the rising turn here, because immediately after this is West Bend and the diving turn, 2 very quick corners, and you've just got to be real close contact with the guy you're trying to overtake as you exit the diving turn, because that's when you can make the effort going into Big Bend.
There's the leader, white flag coming out, 1 to go, Bob Gerald.
Well, Dan Binks watches as the car goes by. Dan, you realize there's not a lot of space there. That's how short your hair is going to be in 1 lap, baby.
Yeah, I can't believe I made that bet, but it looks like it's going to happen. I don't know. We're close, so. I mean, if that's what it takes to win 3 in a row, I'll do it every time.
All right. We hear if they win 4 in a row, the flat top is platinum blonde.
Oh, that's going to be interesting and fun to see. Meanwhile, let's take a look at this battle again. Gentilozzi in certain spots looks like he's a little bit stronger, but then Simo is able to reel him in and keep it interesting. And traffic now going to play a role.
All traffic is going to play a role because they're going to catch him up. No, he's going slow enough. They'll get by him before they get to West Bend. Will Mike Borkowski get behind him? Here comes Tommy Kendall down, diving turn. For the last time, the flag's in sight. There you see the flag on top of the rostrum. Dorsey Schrader is going to fall short. Not going to have 3 wins in a row. And of course, Tommy Kendall's going to pick up his first win at Lime Rock in a Trans Am car, and of course his 3rd win in a row in 1997. So the year going good for him. Paul Gentilozzi hangs on to that 3rd spot. Brian Simo 4th, Mike Borkowski 5th, and Lewis swimming in 6th. So a good result for Lewis and Borkowski.
Now we have seen, well, let's check in first with Bob Gerald.
Dan Binks is happy despite the fact that in a few moments his hair is going to be a lot shorter. You guys have been amazing this season. Really, we've joked a lot about the hair, but 3 in a row is something that very few people have been able to accomplish at any season. How gratifying is it?
It's pretty awesome. We haven't won 3 in a row since, I think, 90. And the last time we won here was 1987 in a Mazda, so it's been a long time. This place has been okay to us, a bunch of seconds, but we haven't won here in a long time.
Sam Posey was monitoring the telemetry today, and he said that your car was perfectly balanced all day.
Yeah, I mean, Kendall gives the feedback. Doug Louth, our engineer, Ray, Roscoe, all the guys on this car. Everybody's been together a long time. You know, when Kendall tells you something, we do it, make it happen.
Congratulations once again to you, Dan. Calvin Fish?
Okay, well, Tom Gloy, 3 cars in the top 5, but not the first position is the one you wanted, obviously.
We really did want that, but we gave it a good run. Our hats off to Tommy. He ran real good and real strong, and Dorsey certainly gave it a try. Real happy for Mike Borkowski in the Textron car. Great drive for him. You know, he raced his teammate right there at the end, and it was really good.
Now you're in the meat of the season. Can you do anything about Kendall this year?
I think we can.